Hey everyone, this is Grace of gbmaltese, and I hope you're doing finer than frogs here. Thought I'd do a whip and chat with you guys and kind of catch you up on what's been going on around here for the last couple of weeks. I want to show you this gorgeous piece I'm working on from Bella Art Diamonds. This is actually the most gorgeous thing I've had. It's beautiful. Look at these colors. I mean, these are my favorite colors. I love these turquoises, the sapphire blues, there's purples. But I want you to look. These are rounds. And you know, rounds are known to be shiny. But these are resin rounds, which are even shinier. Look at that. I have so enjoyed working on this when I've had a chance to. I'll explain to you some things going on that's kept me from making videos and from working on this as much as I wanted, because I'm very close to finishing. I have this part up here. Look at her, isn't she beautiful? Look at her eyes, okay? One eye is finished. Look at that. And the other one I haven't done yet. It's going to be so pretty. Isn't she beautiful? This is Magic in a Bottle from Luisa Maria, 50 by 50. And you can find this on Bella Art Diamonds. I love everything about their canvases, their drills. I can't think of anything I love more than to work on their canvases. If you hadn't tried them out, try it. You just need to experience it. It's beautiful. And sometime in November, I believe, they're going to have a whole lot more canvases coming out. You don't want to miss that. Make sure you watch them on Saturdays on their channel, Bella Art de Nicole. They show the new things they have coming out and keep you up to date. You can ask questions. But isn't this a beauty? Oh, I'm so happy with her. Just gorgeous. I think what they have done, they do hand charting, and they make it pretty much close to what the artist rendition is. So, and if you haven't checked out all of the different items they have, their trays, oh my gosh, I can't even list all the things they have, but there are some things that I am going to get on there and order. They sold out of something I wanted the other day, but I'll be going back on there. And I did order another diamond painting from them, and I will show it to you when I get it. I want to get this one finished pretty soon so I can start on it, because, oh, I love it. I love it. Can't wait to show it to you. So, I'm going to work on this and chat with you while I do so. Let's see. Let me get you in just the right spot so you can see me working on her. She's such a beauty. This is just a beautiful canvas. And the stickiness is just superior. It's fabulous. Even though these are upside down, it doesn't matter because they have given me a chart over here that I can look at right side up. So I can find what goes there. But look how well you can read them, even upside down. Yeah, I work on my things right side up, upside down, sideways, you name it. So, let me catch you up on some things, and then I want to talk about a movie I watched that I have seen before, but I have not watched it in ages, and I watched it last night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to tell you guys about it. If you haven't seen it or you haven't watched it in a long time, you need to go and watch it. It is such a good movie. Well, let me go on with what's been going on. If you watch my channel, you know that I was having my poor dog Oliver has been having a horrible time with his mouth. We thought he needed his teeth cleaned. We got all of that done. He was on antibiotics, and we thought, oh, he's doing so good. Whenever he gets off the antibiotics, because we've been playing around with antibiotics for a while now, whenever he gets off of them, he goes and gets this horrible infection in his mouth. There's nothing wrong with his teeth. He's had them cleaned. He had 3 of them pulled. The vet, I took him back. I said, okay, he is out of his antibiotics. Look at his mouth. It hurts him so much to eat that I was feeding him baby food at this time because he could kind of lap it up, but it was still hurting him. Well, he took a tongue depressor because Oliver was in so much pain that if you go to try to open it and look in there, he's going to bite you. I mean, I'd bite somebody trying to open my mouth after I saw what was in his mouth. His gums, what they did was they took a tongue depressor and slid it into the side of his mouth. And in his gums, he took like a Q-tip, a soft Q-tip, and was just touching around there. They were so red. Just touching them is making them bleed. Then they took the tongue depressor and turned it, and we could see his tongue, and he had a huge, I mean about like this, blister on his tongue. And I'm like, oh my Lord. No wonder he's hurting so bad. He was drooling. We knew it was something in his mouth, but we couldn't figure out why it kept breaking out. Well, we finally have come to the decision that he does have an autoimmune disease. They think it's stomatitis. If you look it up, you can read more about it. But it affects the mouth. And sometimes dogs become allergic to their own plaque and tartar. Even though he just had his teeth cleaned, they said this is something that would have to be done daily because he has no defenses. So he started him on some different antibiotics, put him on prednisone. He's been on this now for 2 weeks. And the first couple of days was pretty rough. I mean, I was babying him, loving him up. He just looked so sad. I mean, I've been giving him lots of extra TLC. But he's been on that now for 2 weeks. He's now down to 1 prednisone a day. He was at 2. The scary part is that this weekend he will be out of his antibiotics. So I'm not sure if just the prednisone is going to work or if he's going to be on antibiotics for the rest of his life and with the prednisone, because he's doing so well right now. And I called them to let them know last week that, oh my gosh, he had improved 100%. He's back to his old self. We're able to take him out for walks, and he runs and plays. Poor little fella. Just feel so bad for him. But he's doing so good now. Prednisone. If you've ever taken prednisone, I've had to take it a few times for my allergies and asthma. It can make you kind of hungry and sometimes cranky. Makes me nervous. But yeah, it's made him very hungry. So he's hungry a lot. So yeah, he has eaten a little more than usual. I try to be careful. I don't want him to become obese. He gets soft foods at night, and then I leave his kibble out for him during the day. So he will just eat that only if he's really hungry. So he has that. And of course I give them treats during the day. You know how we fur baby moms can be. So we'll see how things go next week. I'm probably going to be taking him back to the vet again. Now, that takes care of Oliver. My husband, y'all remember he had hernia surgery done August 1st, and he's doing so much better. If he overdoes it, he sometimes hurts where they did the surgery, where they put that patch. And I told him, I said, you know, it takes months and months for the inside of your body to heal. So he has to be careful. But he's been having a pain on the right side, kind of between his, well, it's basically on the side, a little to the back. Sometimes it's the front. It's probably between his ribs and hips. So I said, you need to go for your annual checkup, and he did. He told the doctor about it, and they did a sonogram last Friday. She thought, well, maybe it's his gallbladder, but they also checked pancreas and maybe his kidneys. I'm not sure what all they checked, but he doesn't go till October 30th to get a reading from the doctor as to what they found. My husband, I wasn't with him when he was having it done. It was just right here in town. And he cracks me up. He said he was telling the person doing the sonogram, he said, well, I think it might be this, and could you check my appendix? And he was telling her to check different places. And she said, well, I can't do that because they didn't tell me to do that. Jerry thinks he can go in there and, you know, get a whole checkup. But she checked him out, and he said she was very thorough. One thing she told him, I thought this was hilarious. My husband is pescatarian. That means he'll eat fish, and he'll eat eggs and things like that, but no regular meat. But he loves broccoli and spinach, cauliflower. He loves all of that kind of stuff. Beans. Well, when she was checking him out, she told him that he was gassy. I just laughed. I said, yeah, you eat that gaseous stuff. What do you expect? So he said she was having to push down pretty hard, I guess, to get through the gas. She's lucky she didn't push any of it on out, because I asked him, well, did you poot on her any? He said, no. He was holding that back. But, you know, like my mama used to say, there's more room outside than inside. Which is true. So, you know, sometimes when you gotta go, you gotta go. It can hurt you. So we'll find out more about that in a week's time. Next week. At the same time, we'll be checking out for Oliver too. So, if you just kind of keep them on your mind and your prayers, I'm just hoping and praying everything comes back okay for Jerry, and if there's any problems, they find it, and it's not, and that it's an easy fix. I really wanted his pancreas checked because my sister's first husband died of pancreatic cancer, and that is just a huge fear. In fact, when I called my sister and talked to her, she said, did they check his pancreas? And I said, yes. And she said, good. Because if you know anything about pancreatic cancer, then you know that a lot of times it doesn't show up until it's at stage 4 and it has spread. And my sister has a friend who's dealing with that right now. She had pancreatic cancer, but it's spread to her liver, and that's the same thing that happened to her husband. He had pancreatic cancer, and they opened him up to see if they could do surgery. Well, it had already spread to his liver and other places, so no, there was nothing they could do. He lived 10.5 months after that, but it was awful. So that is always a big fear. I mean, it's a fear for anyone, any kind of cancer. So just praying that he is healthy and nothing bad going on. I don't care how gassy he is as long as he's healthy. Gas doesn't bother me. I mean, hey, we have been married, let me see, 42 42 or is it 41? 41 years. And we dated 5 years before that, so we've been together 46 years. We met in high school. So we've been together a long, long time. I just can't imagine ever being without him. And I know there are some of you out there that have lost your partners, spouse, whatever. And I know that that is just awful. I watched my sister go through it. She was only 40 at the time. Her husband was 45 when he passed. So it's never, ever an easy thing. So my heart aches for those of you who've gone through those things. And even a divorce. My daughter's been through that, and yeah, it's painful. Very painful. So, my heart goes out to you. Okay, let's talk about something else now. Don't want to get myself down in the dumps here, or you either. Anyway, I'm going to tell you who was in the movie and see if you can guess what the movie is. I'm going to tell you what it is, but while I'm telling you these things, just tell me if you guessed it from who's in the movie. This movie, I believe, was released in the 1940s, 1946 or somewhere around there. I believe it was the same year that My Fair Lady was released. So it might have been later than that. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look, but once I tell you more information, then you will know how to look it up if you want to see it. Okay, the stars are Bette Davis, Olivia de Havilland, and Joseph Cotton. It is a horror movie. Anybody getting any guesses? It was so good. I had seen it years ago, but I hadn't watched it in years and years, and I saw it and I'm like, I want to watch that movie. I hadn't seen it in so long. So we watched it last night, and if you haven't guessed the name of it, I'm going to tell you. Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. Now, how many of you guessed it, and how many of you have seen it? If you have seen it, but you hadn't seen it in a few years, go back and watch it, because I tell you what, I forgot so much about what happened in that movie. It is so good. Now, I'm going to tell you, okay, we get TCM. We pay for YouTube TV, not regular YouTube, but YouTube TV, which gives us a lot of channels. And we get TCM on that. And it was on TCM. I'm going to tell you another way that you can find some of the old movies. My husband figured this one out. I think accidentally, I'm not sure. But if you type in, for example, you're doing a search on Google or whatever search engine you use, and you type in the search bar, Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, and you type in Internet Archives. Internet Archives is a free website, and they have hundreds, maybe thousands and thousands of movies that you can watch. So, if it's a movie that you're looking for, and this happened to me the other day. I wanted to watch A Woman's Face with Joan Crawford. I'd never seen it, and I read about what it was about. I'm like, oh, I want to see that, but I couldn't find it without having to pay for it. But most places, it just couldn't be found. There's nowhere. So I typed in A Woman's Face, Internet Archives, and it came up. And it came up with a whole bunch of movies by Joan Crawford. Now, normally I don't like all of the movies she plays in, but I tell you, she did play in some pretty good ones. This one was good. It was really different. That's all I can say. It was really different. So, that's one way that you can go and find movies to watch for free. Because what we do, you can either watch it on your, I get on it on my laptop. But you can cast it. If you have a smart TV, you can cast it to your TV. But you can probably watch it on your phone, laptop, computer, whatever you might have. But that is one way you can watch free movies. They also have books and other things on there that you can download to read. So, you don't have to download the movies. I just watch it, and it's really cool. We started casting things from you can do it from your phone, your laptop. Of course, you have to have Wi-Fi to do it. Or else just watch it on your phone or your laptop or whatever you have if there are some movies you want to watch. But that's one way you can watch them for free. But let's get back to Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. I'm going to tell you what it's about in case you don't remember or you've never watched it, and this might be something you want to see. And they're playing it this month because it's a horror movie, and this is October, and people like to watch horror movies in October because of Halloween, whatever. So anyway, the beginning of the movie starts out when Bette Davis is young. This happened, I think, like 37 prior to what the main movie is going to be about. So anyway, Bette Davis shows her, it never shows her face because you're not going to be able to make these characters look 37 years younger when their present day age is what they're doing for the basic movie. So her face is kind of in shadows. And she is in love with a man who happens to be married. And she and this guy are planning on running away together. Don't know how they thought that was going to work, but anyway, that was the premises for the movie. Her father found out what her plans were, and he talked to the man that was planning on running away with her, and he told him, because they had planned on meeting in the garden shed or somewhere, and they were going to plan on running away together and elope. But you can't elope if you're married, so that didn't quite work, wouldn't quite work out. And he told them, you better not, you need to tell Charlotte that you don't love her and that plan is off. So he does. When she comes to meet with him, he tells her, you don't hear all of what he says, but you get the idea that he has told her he doesn't love her anymore. He said, I really did. I used to love you so, so much, but I don't anymore. So she runs off, and she's so upset. The next thing you see is this poor guy, lost his love. She ran away, and he's in the garden shed, and he's crying. While he's sitting in there, someone comes in, and all he says, he never says a name. He just says, I don't remember he even said anything, because the next thing you know, his hand is chopped off. You see this cleaver. His hand is chopped off. And he's just struck, and then his head is chopped off. And all he's saying is, "Oh my God," after she cuts the hand off. The next thing you see is Charlotte going back into the party. You don't see her face, it's in shadows, but she's wearing this gorgeous white gown. And down the front of the gown is blood spattered all over it. It's covered in blood. She doesn't remember doing anything, but she, of course, had to have been the one who did it. How did she get all the blood on her? But in her mind, she knew she hadn't. She didn't know what happened, for sure. So, her dad gets her out of it. He's very wealthy. And she stays and lives at home with her dad. And all of these years, she thought her dad was the one who had killed her love. So she stayed there. She didn't want to go anywhere else. She didn't want to start another life. Then, after her dad passes away, she stays in the house by herself with her housekeeper, who is Agnes Moorehead, who does a fabulous job in this movie. I love her in anything she plays in. She was so good in this. Anyway, the county has decided that they need to knock down Charlotte's beautiful home to make way to build a bridge to connect one side of the road to the other across this big river. Well, she is furious, and she goes out there with a gun shooting at him saying, "Get off my land," and all this. And she says, "I'm having my cousin Miriam come and help me get you off of here." So she had written to her cousin Miriam, and Miriam comes. She happens to be Olivia de Havilland. And the doctor who comes to visit with Charlotte to check on her is, of course, Joseph Cotton. And those two, Joseph and Miriam, I can't remember the doctor's name, I just call him Doctor. They had been in love once, many, many years ago, but they moved on their own ways. So Miriam tries to do the best she can for Charlotte and talk to her and tell her, "You have to move out of the house. You know, they're going to be tearing it down." We find out that Miriam had been, we know that she's Charlotte's cousin, and I think her parents must have passed away, and she went to live with Charlotte and her father. I never heard anything about Charlotte's mother, so I'm guessing she died earlier sometime. And she was talking about how they treated her. You start finding out that Miriam's not so happy with the way she was treated by Charlotte's family. She said, "Yes, y'all took me to get clothes, but you took me to a place where you wouldn't even set foot in." And on and on. So Miriam is so sweet and kind, and then things start changing. We find out that Charlotte has lots and lots of money, and she hadn't spent any of it, not even to keep the house up. So she's got so much money. And in the movie, you find out that, I don't want to tell you everything, but Charlotte and the doctor are plotting to drive Miriam and the doctor are plotting to drive Charlotte insane, drive her crazy, and they do some horrific things to her to seem crazy. And I'm telling you, it was cruel. It was so cruel. The movie I think was 2 hours long or 2.5 hours long. But it seemed like it didn't last that long, because I was just gripped to my seat watching. It was so good. So like I said, if you haven't seen it, in a while. Or if you've never watched it, try to get, you know, maybe you can watch it. I know sometimes at libraries they have video VHS tapes, and they might have that. I'm not sure if, you know, it's free on regular YouTube or not. I didn't look it up. It just happened to be on TCM. But you can just type in, when I'm looking for movies, I just type in the name of the movie and do a Google search. But the first place we normally look is, we type in the name of this movie, Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, and then Internet Archives. And it will pull up a link that says Internet Archives, and it will have the name of that movie, and you go there and you can find it. It may, for example, when I was looking up for a woman's face, it just brought up all of Joan Crawford's movies that she'd made. So I just scrolled through the list until I found A Woman's Face. Now my husband, he was doing it. He was looking for it. He was going through there so fast, I said, Jerry, you're going too fast. He said, well, it's not in here. I can't find it. I looked the next day, and guess what I found? I found A Woman's Face. And I'm like, yeah, you really looked, didn't you? Yeah, he was going way too fast. You got to scroll through there so you can see the different movies, and you might find some other ones you want to watch that are by that same actor or actress. You might even, if, you know, one of your favorite actors happens to be, I like Barbara Stanwyck. I could type in Barbara Stanwyck, Internet Archives, and I'll put that down below, Internet Archives, and so you can know how to spell it, and it will bring a link up, and then it might have, you know, several of her movies, and you can look through them and choose what you want. So, I hope I gave you some ideas of ways that you can find some movies. Plus, how many of you now want to go watch Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte? How many, I asked you already, how many of you have watched it before? That, oh gosh, that was so good. I forgot how good it was. My husband was watching it, and we'd forgotten a lot of it. I mean, I couldn't remember what happened. And that's the way things go. When you don't watch something for years and you've watched other things, you'll forget a lot of it. And boy, did I forget a lot. I forgot about a lot of the horrible things they did to her. A few things started coming back, but it was like watching it over again. You know how when you watch a movie and you watch it again and you notice things you didn't the first time? Yeah. Oh, another one of my favorite movies is The Heiress. I've talked about that one before, and that's got Olivia de Havilland. It's on TCM, but you can also look on Internet Archives and see if it's there. Again, just type in The Heiress. That's HEIRESS, Internet Archives, and see if it comes up. It may just have Olivia de Havilland's picture, and then you, in a list of her movies under her picture, and just scroll underneath it. And she was so good in Gone with the Wind too, wasn't she? She's another one of my favorite actresses. I loved Olivia de Havilland. Her sister, Joan Fontaine, was fantastic too. There's a bunch of good ones. I tend to like, I guess, the older movies. I don't know why. I think I enjoy the plots more because I really like mysteries. And the film noir, which is a lot of times that's has mysteries to it. So that's kind of things I like. What kind of movies do you like? It would be so hard for me to tell you what my favorite movie is, because there's so many good ones. There are a lot of good ones. One thing I guess I don't like about the movies today is they don't have to cuss every other word. You know, if they want to put a few in there, but it's not necessary. There are other words that will suffice, and it does not, to me, help with the plot of the movie at all. Also, when they have to come up with the intimate scenes, I don't need to see everything. I don't need to see everything that the person has. I really don't want to. So, you tell me what your thoughts are below. I'd be interested. What do you think about, or have you found a good recent movie that you've watched that you think is really good? Because I would like to see something that is good. I don't ever go to the theater. Well, we don't even have one in our town. But we did have one. It shut down. It was so old. I mean, my dad used to go to that theater back in the 20s. I'm not sure how old it is, but they closed it down for remodeling, and then COVID happened, and then it's going to cost a lot of money to remodel it. There's only one screen in there, for God's sake, so, you know, it just kind of, I went and saw a movie in there one time, many years ago. We normally, when Catherine was little, we'd go out of town. We'd drive an hour to go see a movie, because the floor in that one, it was concrete, and it was so sticky. You know, you were afraid if you stood in one place for too long, you might not ever leave. You might be stuck there for the rest of your life. But it was, yeah, quite a place. So, as I said, they're going to have to spend so much money to fix it up. And the thing that's really bad about when they had the movie theater is a lot of parents would just drop their kids off and leave them there. I'm talking, you know, 13, 14-year-olds, 12, even 11. And those kids, they did things that shouldn't be done. They'd scream, they'd get together in groups and laugh, and, you know, they'd make out in the back of the theater. All I can say is, you know, would you be doing that if your parents were sitting there? Probably not. So, parents need to not just leave their kids for other people to have to take care of it. We used to have a roller skating rink, and they closed it down because of the same problem. The parents would just leave the kids, and they were left to babysit those kids that were in there, and those kids would get into trouble because, you know, when they get into a group, sometimes, not all kids, I'm not talking about all of them, but most parents who will drop their kids off with no supervision whatsoever, they want to go off and do something else. That's normally what happens. They're gone. They go off, or they, you know, they want to some time by themselves. So let's just drop them off, and, you know, somebody else can watch them. That's not right, and it's not fair to other people who are there with their families trying to enjoy themselves. So I think that's why a lot of places have closed down in our town, and a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that. But I have seen it firsthand, because we've had different places try to open, and they're closed. You can't just leave your kids to go tear someone else's things up. Well, here I am preaching. I'm sorry. But anyway, go check out Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. Even if you have seen it and it's been a while, because, oh, honey, and let me tell you, it was so good. Even though I have seen it. But it's been, like I said, it's been many, many years. go give it another gander. It's so good. And look how good this is. Look at this sparkle. Wow. I mean, this looks like there's a light in there. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to let you go for now. God bless you. You guys take care of yourselves. I love you. And I hope to see you real soon. Bye. And she says, bye. Have a wonderful everything.